Hi, this is Terry. Welcome back to my channel. This is the next episode in the series on midlife opportunities. And if you are between the ages of 40 and 65, you are squarely in midlife. If you are approaching 40, these are definitely things that you should be thinking about. And today's topic is about money. And money is something that we Americans were really taught not to talk about. And I think a lot of women really weren't taught about money and financial intelligence and that we can invest, and it's really unfortunate. And it leaves a lot of us worrying about what we're going to do long term, since we tend to live longer than men and we tend to take care of more people, as I talk about in my book, Piloting Your Life. And there's one section on page 49, no, not 49, that was the health one that I just did. If you are a woman and you worry about money and being the proverbial bag lady later in life, you're not alone. It's funny, we were just watching an old episode of Golden Girls, and it was something that actually came up in one of the very first episodes of Golden Girls. We've turned Finn onto it. Are you enjoying it?
Yes, I am.
So 25 years later, it's still resonating even with the youngsters. So on page 223, I write, according to a terrifying 2016 study from the National Institute on Retirement Security, women were found to be 80% more likely than men to be impoverished in retirement. Women tend to live longer than men. We also need more money to last longer to meet daily life expenses, and are more likely to need long-term health care because of our longevity. It doesn't mean that we are expected to be in worse health. It's just we're going to live longer, and obviously that is going to cost more money. The other thing is that we may have taken breaks, whether it was to take care of children, to take care of other loved ones as they've aged. So there have been breaks to make it so that over time there are significant gaps in our finances and our financial security than those of our male counterparts. But all is not lost. And one of the first things that we can do is start talking about money. We can talk about money with ourselves. We can build a better relationship with it. We can talk about it with our partners. If we have a financial advisor, we can talk about it with our financial advisors and really get comfortable with talking about money. The other thing we can do is we can get financially literate. So there are all sorts of different resources out there. Sally Krawcheck is actually a great resource. As I talk about in the book, she says in a Covey Club podcast that you need to create a rainy day fund so you can walk away and be prepared if someone walks away from you or asks you to leave. You need to have the guts to walk away. Others have referred to this as the fuck you fund. And so not only can we become better financially literate, there are, like, I listened to the Midlife Money gal, Stephanie Sammons. I listened to her podcast. Elevest has some good resources. There are good resources that are out there once you acknowledge that you need to become more financially literate. The other thing is learn to take risks. One of the things that we women are not taught from an early age is we are not rewarded by taking risks, and as a result we don't necessarily take financial risks by making investments in things. A lot of times Sally Krawcheck also talks about women not having equal access to investment opportunities that her male counterparts did when she was in investment banking. And that's why the more that we talk about this among women, the more we can talk about the various different opportunities. For example, I now do angel investing. I should have known that I could have been an angel investor because my dad was on the boards of startups, 30 years ago when I actually worked for him, and it should have been something that should have been just a natural for me, but I really did not know until about 6 years ago that this was an opportunity for me. So share among your friends. We're seeing more opportunities to write smaller checks into startups so that we can leverage other people doing work in order to build up our nest egg, but it's going to require taking risks. And as I said before, adjust our relationship with money, not being so afraid of it. I have been tracking in Microsoft Money for years, the transactions, but I think it was more to be comfortable with the transactions and less about analysis. And so now my husband and I are going to be sitting down on a monthly basis, taking a look at our entire portfolio, taking a look at our inflows and our outflows, and making sure we're aligned on our objectives. So that is something that we had separated out. He took care of the home, I took care of the finances, and we are now actually sharing that burden. And we just started doing that today, and it feels really good to not be the only one responsible for that. If you are like in Zeke's position, Zeke knew nothing about our financial stuff. I took care of all of it, and now I'm bringing him into the loop so he has some visibility into it. If you are like Zeke and did not have visibility, get visibility. Start partnering with your partner so that you know what you have, where it is, and you are not like stuck if something happens. We see a lot of women just turning that over to their partners, usually their male partners, and not necessarily having, once again, visibility or control until it's too late if something happens. One last thing that we're going to sit down and do is we are not retiring anytime soon. I'm 50 now. If I live to be 100, I'm probably working for another 25 years in some capacity. But to figure out what I need or what we need at retirement, we need to sit down and define what our ideal retirement looks like, figure out how much we're going to need for that, and then start doing the math to work backwards from there. Then we'll have an idea of when we might be able to, retire. Although GenXers, I'm not sure we're going to be retiring in the same way that our previous generations have done in the past. And so we're going to be creating something that is very different from what we've seen before. And then one last final thought, which I wrote down to make sure that it was all good, was right now in midlife is, last week, the previous episode, I talked about getting our health houses in order. And right now it is really important for us to really own our financial situation, understand where we are, understand where we want to go to, be realistic about it, and really get our financial houses in order. Not be ostriches, pretending things are not as they are, and then be able to take the appropriate actions. I'll try to find some resources, pop them into the description, like the podcasts and some other things that I have read and listened to in order to become more financially literate, that they might help you too. And with that, just thank you so much for watching. If you haven't subscribed, please subscribe. The next 2 episodes are really going to be about sexploration, so you're not going to want to miss those.
I will.
Finn is super uncomfortable at this, but it's really going to be about kind of what's in your toy box. So I already started writing the blog post about this, and hopefully it'll be a little bit fun. And with that tease, as always, let go of perfection, take some risks, and above all else, have some fun.